Now live streaming. Okay, I am getting ready to do this report tonight. Let's see what we've got going here. So, record. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host and your researcher, Louisa. Today is Saturday, May 30th, 2020. This is GoldFish Report number 501. It is week 173 POTUS report. I just finished doing part one of an amazing multi-part series of reports for our 500th GoldFish report that focuses on, hi everybody, thanks, I'm live, so hi everybody, thanks for joining me. It focuses on the greatest threat to mankind. It pertains to artificial intelligence, and I have a multidisciplinary approach to experts bringing their evidence and their research that supports their understanding of the role artificial intelligence plays to humanity. And it's very eye-opening. It's very riveting. And if you own a cell phone, you should want to watch this. So I do hope that everybody joins us for that. So I want to say hello to everyone in the live chat. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. It's uploaded now. It is on the YouTube channel, so I do hope that you'll check that out. We will be releasing them throughout the week to basically mark our 500th GoldFish report, which is really a huge milestone. And I'm, kind of amazed that we made it this far. So I appreciate everybody who has been with us along the way from our first YouTube channel, which was wrongfully terminated after our first 200 reports. You have to forgive me because I'm losing my voice. I was exposed to some radiation last night that had made me feel unwell. So I'll try to get through this. Yes, David, and I have invited him onto the GoldFish report. Thank you for the well wishes too. I will be talking about that lawsuit from Mr. Parsa. I have invited him onto the GoldFish report, and I do hope that he will accept the invitation. I really think everybody's going to enjoy the. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. 500, such a big number, is a big deal. So this is our POTUS report for the week, and as you know, the world just seems like it's going crazy, doesn't it? But it's all engineered. I'm going to save all of that for my political theater report with the FETs on Monday, because of course we're going to break down the evidence of it all being arranged. It's all engineered. You can also find a lot of that evidence on my Twitter page, the GoldFish Report Twitter page. It will be there as well. Yes, I saw that too. The new King of England. Yeah, I saw that as well. I can't verify it yet, and I know that one of our Patreons sent me the link. So I'm still in the process of validating that information. So I haven't been prepared to talk about that yet. There's a video going around about the new King of England, so it should be quite interesting. Yeah, so you're really going to love this part one of this multi-part series of GoldFish report number 500. This does feature reverse speech analyst Tiffany Fontenot, and we go through the conclusion, or I would say the summary of her work, and some amazing things that I learned during the interview as well, pertaining to consciousness and how AI can actually hijack it. It's amazing what you can find out, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. She shares her reversals and she puts it into context. And that's what's the most important part, is that you understand how to put them into context. So without further ado, let's get started on our POTUS report, because we do have a lot to report about. As you know, the president has not been fond of the World Health Organization, as you may know. And so Resolute reads, these are stories that the president doesn't want you to miss. Trump pulls out of the World Health Organization. I think everybody heard that. Slaps penalties on China over Hong Kong action. And President Trump announced last Friday, that is, the U.S. is terminating its relationship with the World Health Organization over its handling of the coronavirus crisis. Tim Howell Jr. and Dave Boyer report. The president also took action on China for misleading the world about the virus, as well as for its security crackdown on Hong Kong. We're going to listen to what the president has to say. Is a little clip of what the president has to say about this.
As a result of the malfeasance of the Chinese government. China's cover-up of the Wuhan virus allowed the disease to spread all over the world, instigating a global pandemic that has cost more than 100,000 American lives and over 1 million lives worldwide. The world is now suffering as a result of the malfeasance of the...
Okay, so this is, the president's pretty clear about this. He's very straightforward about putting blame where it's supposed to be. And he's not letting China off the hook. And I've talked about China recently. And I'm so that I don't get off the the theme for tonight, I'm going to stick to just reporting on the president right now, and then I will make more comments in my political theater report on Monday with the vets. Here we go. Coronavirus Task Force Chief Mike Pence, you did it, America. Early on, experts warned President Trump that without social distancing, the COVID-19 death toll could reach as high as 2.2 million. But with it, the range would drop to 100,000 to 240,000. Today, as many states begin to ease rules near the Memorial Day holiday week turning point that Vice President Mike Pence predicted, the death toll, tragic as it is, stands at the lowest level on the chart. So let's move along. Ivanka Trump helps Treasury prioritize $10 billion funding for minority-owned small businesses. So Ivanka Trump, senior advisor to President Trump, is working closely with the Treasury Department and Small Business Administration to help allocate $10 billion in funding for minority-owned small businesses affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Another story is that Trump's social media executive order is justified, protects free speech, and combats censorship. President Trump was right and justified Thursday to sign an executive order calling for new regulations. Oh, wait a minute. This is current. This wasn't last Friday. This is this Friday. I think I made, and yeah, I did. This is today's press releases, folks. So Thursday to sign an executive order calling for new regulation to strip legal liability protections from social media companies that censor posts and engage in political conduct on their sites, Jim Hansen writes from Fox News. Let's take a look at this video, and see what they have to say about this, because I do have some interpretation too.
Of the FCC. He previously served as the FCC's general counsel. Brennan, let me start with this order. Your reaction to the president's understandable frustration and his response in the form of this executive order.
Thanks, Lou. This is really welcome news. Look, since the 2016 election, the far left has hopped from hoax to hoax to hoax to explain how it lost to President Trump at the ballot box. One thing they've done is look to social media platforms, and they put pressure on them for the crime, in their view, of staying neutral in the 2016 election. And they're committed to not letting these platforms stay neutral in the run-up to 2020. So this step by President Trump shines a light on some of that activity and tees up some steps that can be taken.
Well, you use the word neutral with quotes of facetiousness around it, because those social media platforms are anything but neutral, as we know. Google, for example, in its platforms, decidedly making a choice in the election to be about as anti-Trump as one could imagine. And this nonsense coming from Jack Dorsey, the founder and CEO of Twitter, to say that some of the comments that have been made saying his approach does not make Twitter an arbiter of truth. Facebook's Zuckerberg saying that he doesn't want his platform to pretend to be such, accusing effectively Twitter of doing so. It's ridiculous, some of the comments that have resulted from the Twitter folks trying to explain their idiotic attempts to limit the free speech of the President of the United States. It cannot be condoned rationally, can it?
Look, Twitter made the decision to take on the President of the United States in a partisan political debate. And it did so in really a disingenuous way. It got its facts wrong. It tried to challenge the president's assertion that when you have massive mail-in ballots, there's going to naturally be voter fraud. There's no authority higher than Jerry Nadler, who made that exact same point. We also see it with Facebook. They stood up this new oversight board, and they stacked it with really people that are emotionally, viscerally against the president. Pam Karlan is on that board. You may remember that she was famous for testifying in favor of impeachment of the president and had that infamous Barron line. Look, if you were to hand pick a group to tilt an election against the incumbent president, I don't think it would look much different than the oversight board that Facebook has put together. So I think this executive order is welcome news, including calling on the Federal Trade Commission. Look, if you're any other type of business and you represent to Congress and the public that you're a neutral platform and you engage in some of the conduct that we're seeing, you'd be held liable for sort of an unfair business practice at that point.
Well, the president served notice, more than sufficient notice, that he was not going to be trifled with by big tech, pencil-necked geeks in the form of one particular Jack Dorsey.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because what I want to do is put this into context a little bit so everybody really understands what's going on with this. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all. Thank you so much for joining me. What this is referring to is the social media giants have said that they're considered a platform, a neutral platform, right? But they called it a platform. And as a result of that, it didn't meet requirements, of being held and bound to our constitutional protections. The argument, the executive order that the president signed is taking away that classification of platform and saying that you do need to be regulated because either you're a publisher, because publishers can sway opinion and they have opinion, or you're a public forum. And if you're a public forum, people have constitutional protections in it. So that's what this is about. And it was about time for that to change. It was time for that to happen. So it's really good news that that the president signed that. But I will go over that in more detail as we continue to review the press releases. Here it says, it's time to stop pretending Twitter is neutral. The Federalist is reporting that by stepping into flag Trump's tweets with a warning label and a so-called users can get the facts about mail-in ballots, which ironically links to a CNN article by Chris Cillizza. Twitter abandoned any claim it had to being a neutral facilitator. And that's what this is all about. There's more. Here's another link here, 33 examples of Twitter's anti-conservative bias. He was right. They were very anti-Trump and anti-conservative. So let me just take a quick look at what this is, if we can look at it real quick, or if it's a video. No, it's... So Yeah, I mean, they are not arbiters of truth. And, we shouldn't be looking at them that way, fact checking Trump's tweets. I can tell you that the Goldfish report was actually, I was locked out of the account on Facebook because I posted a news release from the White House. As you know, I've reported from the White House. As a White House reporter, I was actually just publishing a press release from the White House. And their little semantic bots, or their, arbiters, their algorithmic arbiters of of anti-Trumpism, flagged it and said that it was actually something to the effect of against the community standards, based on hate speech and harmful organizations or something like that. And I contacted Congress and I said, what the heck is going on here? And I sent this one committee, they said they never heard of that, but that was then. Now they're hearing about it. But it was starting to happen. It was already happening then. So if you go to the blog, the goldfishreport.blogspot.com, click on that link and check out all the 33 ways that all the 33 ways that Twitter is has an anti-conservative bias. Okay, so let's keep moving along. We have remarks by President Trump on actions against China, Rose Garden, May 29th. As everybody may know, yesterday was the anniversary of late President Kennedy's birthday. So there was a lot of posts going around Twitter that day, and social media, paying homage to the late JFK. So here the president is stating that China's pattern of misconduct is well known. For decades, they have ripped off the United States like no one has ever done before. Hundreds of billions of dollars a year were lost dealing with China, especially over the years during the prior administration. China raided our factories, offshored our jobs, gutted our industries, stole our intellectual property, and violated their commitments under the World Trade Organization. To make matters worse, they are considered a developing nation, getting all sorts of benefits that others, including the United States, are not entitled to. He says, but I never solely blame China for this. They were able to get away with a theft like no one was able to get away with before because of past politicians and, frankly, past presidents. But unlike those who came before, my administration negotiated and fought for what is right. It's called fair and reciprocal treatment. China has unlawfully claimed territory in the Pacific Ocean, threatening freedom of navigation and international trade. And they broke their word to the world on ensuring the autonomy of Hong Kong. This is really very upsetting, I think, folks, because some people may say Hong Kong should have seen this coming, but it really was a sign of hope that democracy and some semblance of rights, human rights, was going to be, honored and respected over in the, Far East. But it's a sad day to see what's happening with Hong Kong today. It truly is. The United States wants an open and constructive relationship with China, but achieving that relationship requires us to vigorously defend our national interests. The Chinese government has continually violated its promises to us and so many other nations. These plain facts cannot be overlooked or swept aside. The world is now suffering as a result of the malfeasance of the Chinese government. China's cover-up of the Wuhan virus allowed the disease to spread all over the world, instigating a global pandemic that has cost more than 100,000 American lives and over 1 million lives worldwide. Chinese officials ignored their reporting obligation to the World Health Organization and pressured the World Health Organization to mislead the world when the virus was first discovered by Chinese authorities. Countless lives have been taken and profound economic hardship has been inflicted all around the globe. They strongly recommend against me doing the early ban from China, but I did it anyway and was proven to be 100% correct, according to the president here. So he has reforms that they feel they must make and engage with them directly. And if they have refused to act because they have failed to make requested needed reforms, the president said that he was terminating our relationship with the World Health Organization and redirecting those funds to other worldwide and deserving urgent global public health needs. The world needs answers from China on the virus. We must have transparency. Why is it that China shut off infected people from Wuhan to all other parts of China? It went nowhere else. It didn't go to Beijing. It went nowhere else, but allowed them to freely travel throughout the world, including Europe and the United States. So I'm not going to read the whole transcript, but I wanted to give you an idea really of how stern the president is being on China at this point. It's just words right now, but let's see. This week, China unilaterally imposed control over Hong Kong's security. This was a plain violation of Beijing's treaty obligation with the United Kingdom in the Declaration of 1984 and explicit provisions of Hong Kong's basic law. It has 27 years to go. The Chinese government's move against Hong Kong is the latest in a series of measures that are diminishing the city's long-standing and very proud status. This is a tragedy for the people of Hong Kong, the people of China, and indeed the people of the world. China claims it is protecting national security, but the truth is that Hong Kong was secure and prosperous as a free society. Beijing's decision reverses all of that. It extends the reach of China's invasive state security apparatus into what was formerly a bastion of liberty. China's latest incursion, along with other recent developments that degraded the territory's freedoms, make clear that Hong Kong is no longer sufficiently autonomous to warrant the special treatment that we have offered the territory since the handover. China has replaced its promised formula of one country, two systems with one country, one system. My announcement today will affect the full range of agreements we have with Hong Kong, from our extradition treaty to our export controls on dual-use technologies and more, with few exceptions. We will be revising the State Department's travel advisory for Hong Kong to reflect the increased danger of surveillance and punishment by the Chinese state security apparatus. We will take action to revoke Hong Kong's preferential treatment as separate customs and travel territory from the rest of China. The United States will also take necessary steps to sanction PRC and Hong Kong officials directly or indirectly involved in eroding Hong Kong's autonomy. Just if you take a look, absolutely smothering Hong Kong's freedoms. Our actions will be strong. Our actions will be meaningful. So these are pretty strong words from the president, but we'll see what ends up happening. President also had a roundtable discussion with industry executives on reopening. You can go through the blog here and take a look at the transcript. I'm not screen sharing, am I? I'm so sorry, folks. I don't think you can see what I'm looking at. Hi, Liverpool, England. Nice to see you all. Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't screen sharing the blog. Yeah. So let me just go back to. Sorry, I wasn't screen sharing the blog. I intended to do that. I'm actually a little under the weather. You could tell I just have to keep clearing my throat, and it's like so difficult to talk. I'm not sure I'm going to, talk much more, honestly. It's okay. The president also signed quite a few proclamations today. I am actually reporting today first, and then I'm going to go work my way backwards. That's not how I normally do it, but that's just how it ended up today. So I hope you all can be patient with that. He signed a proclamation for National Caribbean American Heritage Month. Actually, there was a whole bunch of them. All right, I might have them on another blog page, so let me go check that out. Where'd they all go? Just bear with me. When it's live, folks, sometimes we have to, we have a little, yeah, I'm not sure why it's not showing. Okay, there's also a proclamation on the Great Outdoors Month, which I could show. I don't really need to show that. Something that you might want to see is there's a bill announcement. Okay, I'll screen share this. This is called Never Again Education. The Never Again Education Act, which requires the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum to develop and disseminate resources to improve awareness and understanding of the Holocaust, and authorizes various Holocaust education program activities to engage prospective and current teachers and educational leaders. Oh, great. We're going to have more fake history shoved down our throats. And I don't mean to say the Holocaust, was fake. I just mean parts of it were misleading us, that they weren't necessarily death camps, but they were labor camps. So, my colleague, Jim Fetzer, has shown me enough historical evidence to suggest that was actually more the case. And why they would do that, I'm not going to talk about that today. Here we have the presidential veto to the House of Representatives for HJ Resolution 76. Here he says, I'm returning here with, without my approval, HJ Resolution 76, a joint resolution that would undermine the efforts of my administration to protect students and taxpayers by nullifying the Borrower Defense Institutional Accountability Regulation, which the Department of Education published in the Federal Register. The Borrower Defense Institutional Accountability Rule sets forth clear standards for borrower defense to repayment, providing needed transparency to both students and schools. Under this rule, a fair process will deliver deserved relief to students harmed by their educational institutions. This refers to, I believe this refers to, there were some online universities that had opened and they had taken tuition money from people and for the whole semester, and then they went under, belly up, and so they disappeared with the tuition of all these students who had enrolled there, and I believe that that's what this bill is referring to for the most part. Okay, I'm good. I'm sorry, but I have to do moderating in my room because I think there's some. Sorry, I have to interrupt this. I had to put somebody in timeout. Just be respectful, okay? In the comment section, please. Thanks. Okay, so moving along. Let's continue. What do we have here? We're going to go back to. Let's go to the next day. I'm sorry, folks, for coughing into the mic. Okay, here we go. President Trump, remarks by President Trump at a Memorial Day ceremony at Fort McHenry, right? National Monument and Historic Shrine in Baltimore. You can come here and take a look at this. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that. And of course, there's you can read it yourself. There was also our political theater report from last week, Wag the Dog, What's Hidden. You're going to want to check that out. And our last week's POTUS report too. That's also available on our blog. We have the president honoring our fallen heroes at Memorial Day. And so more than 1 million U.S. service members have made the ultimate sacrifice since our founding. For Memorial Day, President Trump honored these fallen warriors by visiting two important historic sites. At Arlington National Cemetery, the president joined Vice President Mike Pence, First Lady Melania Trump, and Second Lady Karen Pence for a wreath-laying ceremony After the playing of our national anthem, President Trump stepped up to the tomb of the unknown soldier to give an honorary salute. Later, he traveled to Baltimore's Fort McHenry, the place where American troops held back a British invasion more than 200 years ago. A fleet of some 30 warships attacked the fort relentlessly for 25 hours in September 1814. Through the smoke of battle, Americans' battered flags stood strong. It was a symbol of the perseverance of U.S. forces fighting off invasion and preserving our independence. And it was actually in that body of water there where the parts of our national anthem, I believe, were inspired by the bombs bursting in air, lyrics. It was right there at that battle at Fort McHenry. So it's beautiful to go look at the history of that and take a look at that. We'll also, you can see the president's visit there. If you go to the blog here, you can click on that link. And let's see what else we have. First Lady Melania Trump's message for 2020 graduates. So she had hosted them at the White House as well. And it was tough this year. A lot of kids were not in school. A lot of kids did what was, what they could to, honor their graduation ceremony or moving up ceremonies from junior high to high school or from elementary to junior high school. And they all had to do it virtually. They all had to go into Zoom rooms and, or Skype or, some other kind of video conference software, and everybody join in and make a video compilation. But everybody learned to do it. That's the whole point of why we need to be opening up. We need to let everybody figure out how to do it, how to do things in a safe way, but still continue to do it, So that's important. And here, the photo of the day was here with President Trump participating in the Memorial Day wreath-laying ceremony at the tomb of the unknown soldier. So this is a nice image. We have our awesome superwoman, Kayleigh McEnany, press briefing. So you can go here and check this out. She knows how to handle the fake news media outlets. She's doing such a fantastic job, and I'm really glad for the president because he doesn't need to be up there doing his own press conferences. She is so incredibly qualified to do it, and I'm glad to see that that's one less job he has to do and he has to fulfill. So that's really nice. The president also is reducing the cost of insulin and providing health care for our nation's seniors. Under President Trump's leadership, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is announcing that many Medicare Part D plans and Medicare Advantage plans have applied to offer lower out-of-pocket insulin costs to seniors for the 2021 plan year. Across the nation, participating enhanced Part D plans will provide many seniors with Medicare access to a broad set of insulins at a maximum $35 copay for a month's supply of each type of insulin. That's great. In 2018, Medicare Part D also started covering newer insulin delivery devices, including both mechanical and electronic insulin pumps that are not covered under Part B. Lowering out-of-pocket insulin costs will provide the many Medicare beneficiaries who rely on one or more common forms of insulin with plan options that will deliver critical relief. That's wonderful. The president's doing that. There's more details on this. Protecting seniors during a pandemic. This is where, Governor Cuomo failed. He literally sent COVID-19 patients to nursing homes, knowing that they were going to infect the nursing homes. So he is going to be held to pay for that. You want to know more about the seniors, and I definitely want the seniors to know about this, but I'm losing my voice. I can't talk that much more tonight. So believe it or not, I'm gonna have to shorten this because I can't talk that much tonight. I know some people find that hard to believe. Okay, former new executive. Okay, the liberal leaning media has passed its tipping point. So news organizations that claim to be neutral have long been creeping leftward, and their loathing of Mr. Trump has accelerated the pace. We all know that. There's probably no way to seal the gap between the media and a large segment of the public. The media likes what it is doing, admires it, celebrates it. There's no personal, professional, or financial reason to change. If anything, the gap will expand. Ultimately, the media finds the deplorables deplorable. Of course they do. Okay. Okay, so because my voice is kind of giving out on me tonight, I'm not going to do much more reading, actually. Here, the president has an amendment to a proclamation of May 24th, 2020, suspending entry as immigrants and non-immigrants of certain additional persons who pose a risk of transmitting 2019 novel coronavirus. Yeah. So here's it's an amendment to this proclamation that was already signed. Okay, so let me just check in and see how everybody's doing. How is everybody doing? Yeah, I got some trolls in here, I think. I just want people to be respectful. If they don't have respectful messages, please leave. Dan, I see you in there. If you want, I'll make you moderator so you can clean up for me, because I'd appreciate that. It's just, I can't pay attention to all of it while I'm screen sharing, because I can't see the screen. But you let me know. You don't have to. So it's nice if somebody can. Let's see what we got. Where are we going next? We just did that one. Okay. Well. So, yeah. So Wednesday, there was a space launch, the SpaceX. Obviously, it didn't go up because it went up today. So that's interesting. And I kind of feel like, the juxtaposition of that and its ambition just, seems, I don't know, folks. We've got major cities around the country up in flames, looting, rioting. I mean, we know that's social engineering. We know Soros is funding it. We know it's all deliberate. We know they're doing everything they can to stop the election or to interfere with it somehow. They're really only shooting themselves in the foot, because I think more and more Democrats are leaving the party for good. And that's good. That's a good thing, right? Because then we can go back to our restored our restored republic, our organic constitution. And, we don't need to have this ridiculous two-party system, which is always going to pit one group against another. So anyway, so here they're talking about the space launch. Here's Dr. Ben Carson talking about how America will beat this virus. They're talking about a lot of those things. And of course, this is where they're talking about President Trump delivering for America's seniors. And I'm really glad that President's not forgetting. He doesn't forget about our veterans. He doesn't forget about our minority communities. He doesn't forget about our seniors. He's really trying to get everybody taken care of. You have to admit, he's taken the action to do it. So you judge a man by his action, not by his words, right? So that's good. You can come here and read all about this and all the difference. In the past, Obamacare prevented insurance providers from competing to offer lower costs for seniors. There was no competition. There was no anything. And they ran away with what took place. And the seniors were horribly hurt, according to this report. 1 in 3 seniors on Medicare suffer from diabetes, and over 3.3 million of these beneficiaries use at least one type of insulin. And we just talked about those insulin and the what the president was doing with that. Here you also have the administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services delivering remarks on protecting seniors with diabetes. Remarks by the president during the SpaceX demonstration Mission 2 launch briefing. You can come here and take a look. I definitely cannot read this. President Trump announces intent to nominate and appoint individuals to key administration posts. Let me just stop this for a second and check in with let me see if I can I'm going to make Dan a moderator. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to, but I made you a moderator. So if you see anybody in there being rude, could you give them a timeout? Thanks. Hi, Shari. How are you, dear? Nice to see you. Glad for stopping by. Glad that you stopped by. Let me continue with our press releases from the White House. We also have here some nominations to administration posts. We have Derek Kahn of California to be Deputy Director of the Office of Management and Budget. Okay, very good. You can read about him here. We also have Michael McCarthy of Virginia, a career member of the Senior Foreign Services, a class of Minister Counselor to be Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the United States of America to the Republic of Liberia. Lovely. We have Lucas Polakowski of Virginia to be Assistant Secretary of Defense for Nuclear, Chemical, and Biological Defense Programs. Big deal. I mean, it is a big deal. I'm not saying big deal. I'm not saying it that way. I just mean it is a big deal. So definitely check out his background. And then, of course, Melvin Huff of Massachusetts to be member of the National Science Board for a term of 6 years. We're going back to the moon and beyond. So that's according to NASA. Never a straight answer, or not a space agency. And I don't. I don't know, I'm not going to comment. Those are some acronyms some people have used to describe NASA. But and folks, I have to just tell you that it was obvious. Come on, tell me who saw that was CGI during that liftoff today. Please don't tell me that you didn't notice the CGI. Please somebody tell me you did notice. Tell me, actually, in the opposite, or right in the affirmative. Tell me who saw and noticed that there was CGI, that the mainstream media, was using CGI during those liftoffs. It just looks so fake. I mean, my TV's not even that good, and I could tell it was CGI. But anyway, it's like they're hiding something. Okay, so Democrats and virtually every journalist in the Washington media are fond of saying things like, nobody wants the shutdown to last forever and everybody wants the economy to go back to what it was. But just as when they insist that everyone believes in securing the southern border, there's no real indication that they're being honest. And that is the truth, according to Eddie Scarry of the Washington Examiner. We talked about the president protecting seniors seniors with diabetes. Let's see if there's a long transcript that I'm not going to read. Sorry, I'm scrolling, but you know how it is. Okay, so let me just check in and say hi to everybody again. See how Dan's doing. Are you in a stomping mood? It's funny. He's got the boot. Dan's got the boot. So you better be nice and behave, or Dan's going to give you the boot. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. Okay, here we go. This is the remarks by President Trump announcing an executive order on preventing online censorship. Just excuse me for a second. President says, thank you very much. We're here today to defend free speech from one of the gravest dangers it has faced in American history, frankly. And you know what's going on as well as anybody. It's not good. A small handful of powerful social media monopolies controls a vast portion of all public and private communications in the United States. And we know what they are. We don't have to name them. We're going to give you a complete listing. We're going to give you a signed copy of what I'm going to be signing in a couple of minutes, and you'll see exactly what we're doing. They've had unchecked power to censor, restrict, edit, shape, hide, alter virtually any form of communication between private citizens and large public audiences. There's no precedent in American history for so small a number of corporations to control so large a sphere of human interaction. And that includes individual people controlling vast amounts of territory. And we can't allow that to happen, especially when they go about doing what they're doing, because they're doing things incorrectly. They have points of view, and if we go by that, it's actually amazing that there was a success in 2016. And quite frankly, it truly is. But we can't let this continue to happen. It's very, very unfair. And you look at the statistics, and you look at what is going on, and I think everybody would very much agree with that, including Democrats, by by the way. I saw quite a few Democrats are saying this is about time something is done. So let's see if they keep that decision after they hear what we agree with them, right? The choices that Twitter makes when it chooses to suppress, edit, blacklist, shadow ban are editorial decisions, pure and simple. They're editorial decisions. In those moments, Twitter ceases to be a neutral public platform and they become an editor with a viewpoint. And I think we can say that about others also when you're looking at Google, whether you're looking at Facebook and perhaps others. One egregious example is when they tried to silence views that they disagree with by selectively applying a fact check. A fact check. A fact check. I like how they emphasize this, right? What they choose to fact check and what they choose to ignore or even promote is nothing more than a political activism group or political activism. And that's inappropriate. If you look at what's happened, you look at where they're going, where they're coming from. I think you all see it yourselves. I'm just reading the president's transcript here. Try not to do, let's see, how long is it? Oh, I can't read the whole thing. You know what, folks? Come and take a look at this. I cannot read this. Boy, I will lose my voice for sure tonight. Also, the president gave a briefing on the 2020 hurricane season, so you can come and take a look. They are, projecting that it's going to be above average activity, so everybody should prepare for that, especially if you live along the coast. Here it is. President Trump signed the executive order to fight online censorship by technology corporations, including social media platforms. Tech bias is a major issue facing our democracy. It challenges the free exchange of ideas and public debate that protects our civil liberties. Every citizen, liberal, conservative, or otherwise, has a right to be heard and treated fairly online. Let's hear what the president has to say about that real quick.
We're here today to defend free speech from one of the gravest dangers it has faced in American history, frankly, and you know what's going on as well as anybody. It's not good. A small handful of powerful social media monopolies controls a vast portion of all public and private communications in the United States, and we know what they are. We don't have to name them. We're going to give you a complete listing. We're going to give you a signed copy of what I'm going to be signing in a couple of minutes, and you'll see exactly what we're doing. They've had unchecked power to censor, restrict, edit, shape, hide, alter virtually any form of communication between private citizens or large public audiences. There's no precedent in American history for so small a number of corporations to control so large a sphere of human interaction. Thank you very much. We're here today to defend.
Okay, so that's exactly what this is about. And we're glad to see the president, taking this action. We know that it's been long overdue, but we also know that Q was telling us this was coming. So very glad about that. So especially me, after all the censoring and deletion of blogs and Okay, Dan, don't intimidate the viewers, Dan. Please don't intimidate all the lovely people in our chat. He's just being funny, truly. So that's pretty funny. Where are we now? Okay. In the executive order, so what does it say? Let's get down to it. Everybody wants to know what the meat and potatoes are of this executive order. Make it U.S. policy that platforms who selectively edit, censor, or are not acting in good faith with regards to content will not receive the liability protection included in Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. It directs the Commerce Department to petition the FCC to make clarifying rules on Section 230 in line with U.S. policy. It helps stop millions of taxpayer dollars from being wasted by federal agencies on advertising with biased social media platforms. Ensures the Justice Department will review more than 16,000 complaints about politically motivated censorship that were collected by the White House in advance of Social Media Summit held last year. Yes, and GoldFish report sent in at least a dozen. because we had more than that. Mobilizes state attorneys general who have massive subpoena and consumer protection authorities to ensure social media platforms are not engaging in unfair or deceptive acts or practices. And it acts as federal law and lists the many ways in which tech platforms act with bias against viewpoints they disagree with. Massive corporations that treat millions of American citizens unfairly shouldn't expect special privileges and protections under the law. With President Trump's executive order today, our country is one step closer to having an honest, fair public debate. Wow. Photo of the day. That's it. That's wonderful. They're really smiling. Look how genuine that smile is on both of their faces because they know we've been waiting for this a really long time. President Trump, joined by United States Attorney General William Barr, signed an executive order on preventing online censorship. There you have it. And the president was really one of the, biggest victims of this censorship. So you're funny, Dan. Actually, Dan's going to be joining me soon for a very interesting continuation of our Goldfish Report number 500. So I appreciate you being there, Dan. I'm looking forward to our report on next week, I believe that it is. So, okay, let's continue moving along here. Yeah, so that's a really great. Here's the actual executive order, if you want to take a look at it. Here it is. Okay. Executive order on preventing online censorship. Yay! This is like, I don't know, I wish I had something to like throw in the air to celebrate because this is a moment we've all been waiting for, We've all been waiting for this to happen. So it's great. Free speech is the bedrock of American democracy. Our founding fathers protected the sacred right with the First Amendment to the Constitution. Well, you better tell that to the judges in the courtrooms because they don't pay any attention to it. Honestly. All right, I digress. Let's move along. In a country that has long cherished the freedom of expression, really? Everyone gets put in jail. Okay, let me move along. We cannot allow a limited number of online platforms to handpick the speech that Americans may access and convey on the internet. Good. This practice is fundamentally un-American and anti-democratic. This is great. So here it is, folks. So Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube wield immense, if not unprecedented power to shape the interpretation of public events, to censor, delete, or disappear information, and to control what people see or do not see. Oh yeah, I don't want to overlook this. The growth of online platforms in recent years raises important questions about applying the ideals of the First Amendment to modern communication technology. Today, many Americans follow the news, stay in touch with friends and family, and share their views of current events through social media and other online platforms. As a result, these platforms function in many ways as a 21st century equivalent of the public square. And that is what is protected by the Constitution. So that's, as I was explaining before, it's functioning as a public forum. So he's very clear about this. Let's see what else he says here. Protection against online censorship, right? But I just want to see what it says though. Okay, Section 230C was designed to address early court decisions holding that if an online platform restricted access to some content posted by others, it would thereby become a publisher. Right. So this is what we were saying before. This is what I reported earlier. So it kind of goes, it's not splitting hairs anymore on semantics. It is absolutely being very clear what these social media companies truly represent. So it's time. It's fair. Okay, so you can come here and take a look. This is a long one, and I can't read it all because my throat is getting a little bit scratchy. It's very scratchy today, folks. I don't know. I was around some radiation that was it gave me a very sore throat. Let me check in to say hello. Hi, everybody. Dan, I hope you're not scaring people away from my from my live stream chat window. You're funny. You're doing a good job, though, honorably defending free speech in that live chat, but respectful free speech. And that's what it's about, of course. Statement from the president regarding veto. You can come here and read that if you'd like. This is important. This is about the president protecting America from China's efforts to steal technology and intellectual property. You know that this was one of the conditions in the trade agreement. This was a big deal, a big part of the deal, the trade deal with China, and it did have to do with intellectual property. So I'm sorry, but I'm not going to read it because my throat is very scratchy tonight. Okay, proclamation on the suspension of entry as non-immigrants of certain students and researchers from the People's Republic of China. Yep, we've got to get spies out of here, if that's what he's referring to. Not all of them are, but some may be. Please come to the goldfishreport.blogspot.com and you can read these in detail if you'd like. I'm just having a sore throat tonight and not really able to read them all out for you all. Again, this sums up what the executive order on social media really entails. Social media companies should not receive liability protections when they act as editors of content or their platforms or take down lawful speech based on politics. Right. President Trump has issued an order to uphold free and open debate on online platforms. There you have it. That's what we wanted to hear. What does it do? The order calls for a start of a regulatory process to clarify the scope of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act to ensure social media companies who purport to provide users a forum for free and open speech, but nonetheless engage in deceptive or pretextual censorship, will not be allowed to entitled to immunity for such actions. Yeah, they had a little typo there. Okay. It also instructs the Federal Trade Commission to consider prohibiting social media companies from engaging in any deceptive acts or practices affecting commerce. Good. Federal agencies will review policies and procedures regarding taxpayer dollars that are going to online platforms that inappropriately restrict free speech. There you have it. Furthermore, the order establishes a working group to develop model legislation that states could adopt. Excellent. Protecting free public discourse. Exactly. Social media platforms now function as the modern equivalent of the public square. That's what we want to know. That's the takeaway from this executive order, because it cannot be infringed upon. All right. Now, as you may know, as our viewers may know, I have done I'm sorry, I wasn't screen sharing that, was I? Sorry about that. Someone should have mentioned it to me. Yeah, you can come to the blog and check this out in more detail if you'd like. I did a bullet points presentation. I have a series that I do. They are essentially literature review. They're academic. They're literature reviews, which means we review a specific area of policy that pertains to the president, okay, for this particular series of reports called Bullet Points. And it focuses on some kind of presidential power of one kind or another, or on our First Amendment, or any of our amendments or constitutional rights, right? We did do one on the First Amendment there are some limitations to free speech, folks, whether you realize it or not. Hate speech is one of them. Speech where you threaten people, that's another one. But by all means, the First Amendment is very clear about what it does protect, and it is clear about protecting free speech in public forums and allowing that public forum for that open debate, possibly to ask for redress of grievance, but at the very least to have that open debate of free ideas. And that's very clear what the First Amendment was referring to. And I'm really glad to see that this president cares about our Constitution and is signing executive orders to make sure that our constitutional protections are not eroded. That's very important. The only problem is the judges. The president can sign any executive order. But if the judges are not going to follow the Constitution or follow the law, then we need to end judicial immunity for judges who are not going to do their job and not going to uphold the oath that they took of their office. So that's another discussion, not today. That's another discussion, though, but it's an important discussion and one that we sure do need to have. And wrapping this up, I'm going to screen share what came about. Let's see, this was today. Yeah, looks like today. We did talk about how the World Health Organization, the president pulls us out of the World Health Organization and stopped funding it, which is really what you end up having to do because they're really not representing. They apparently, it really appears that they have this, I would say, what would you call it? This depopulation agenda. So why would we fund that, right? It doesn't make any sense to me because we know what's going on with Fauci. We know what's going on with China. They have a depopulation agenda. It's communist. Why would we want, to support the World Health Organization, who considers China a developing nation and gives them all these perks and benefits when China's been building and surpassing most developing worlds? They become a superpower. So I think it's ridiculous to keep China in the category of developing nation. They are quite developed. So I'm glad to see the president, again, taking very, very strong and bold measures to do what's right and to stop other countries and organizations from robbing the USA piggy bank, which is, basically what they do. I think we already talked about this earlier. Yes, we did. And actually, I think we might be done. So, folks, I might have missed some stories, but I think I got them all. I do appreciate everybody being here. It's been an hour, so I want to thank Dan for moderating in the live stream. I do appreciate that. And I appreciate all the viewers who come by in the live stream and comment. Dan, you don't have to just, be a what do you call it? A bouncer for the chat room, but you can, converse with everybody too if you wanted to. But right now we're going to wrap it up, and I wanted to remind everybody that we just started our 500th Goldfish report, which is a series of several reports outlining the different areas of expertise in reviewing the greatest threat to mankind, which is artificial intelligence. Yeah. I will make, what I'll do? People are talking about the protests, and I have to tell you, it's kind of outrageous. I'm going to show you something here. I'll screen share this. This was on Twitter, and this is in Minnesota. And here you have a protester, right, who's got a wire earpiece in. Looks kind of sophisticated, like a network news, quality earpiece. I mean, I can't buy one that looks like that. What's going on here? What's going on is these people are being directed by somebody. Okay, what other evidence do we have of that? Well, let's take a look. We have quite a bit, actually. So let's see if I can find the video on this. Yeah. I'm going to present this in my Monday morning political theater, but here this is. Crazy how the crisis actors show up in Minneapolis. Remember this lady getting the beaten out of her? She is with their terrorist group afterwards, laughing it up at how her video took off. Here she is laughing. Here she was supposed to have been, beaten. But nope, she's happy now, even though she looks all messy. So, folks, Q warned us all to be prepared, and there's going to be more because they're losing, and they don't like losing, and they're going to cause a lot of problems for people. Yeah, so I already did that one. And, just in case you needed to see this, you better look out for Nashville, too. What's going on there, right? Here's crisis actors needed for documentary. What? Why wouldn't you call a casting company? Why would you advertise this in Craigslist? Nashville Craigslist. This is their MO, folks. They always recruit crisis actors through Craigslist, okay? That's probably why they created it. Seeking experienced crisis actors, what? For interviews in an upcoming documentary. Yeah. Folks, don't fall for it. I'm telling you, don't fall for it. You're going to cause a lot of problems for our country if you keep, here's one for Las Vegas. And what did we see? We saw, this says Memorial Day weekend, but we're seeing protests in Las Vegas. This is a staged event, folks, but real harm is being done. Real businesses are being destroyed. They're losing money. They're going to leave those neighborhoods now. The people who live in those neighborhoods are not going to be able to get access, especially elderly or handicapped, disabled. How are they going to go get food and things when their supermarkets are completely destroyed? And then you have other people trying to warn folks about this. Let me see if that's here. Yeah, I'm going to screen share this for you folks. So, just
yeah, they put them there. This the setup. They put them there on purpose, y'all know where we at. They gonna set them hoes right up on the route. Y'all know what building this is right here. Now. I ain't even gonna say what name it is. Hey, where do those bricks? This right here? Yeah, they put them there. This the setup. They put them there on purpose, y'all know where we at. They gonna set them hoes right up on the route. Y'all know what building this is right here. Now. I ain't even gonna say what name it is. Hey, where do them bricks go to? Where do them bricks go to? Where do them bricks go to? We gotta do better. Ain't no damn gotta do better. Ain't no damn construction around here. I see. Ain't no damn construction around here. You just gonna set a pallet of bricks right there. Oh, okay. Listen, I did jury duty 3 months ago. Y'all don't keep no bricks right there. Do better. This right here? Yeah.
Do better. I like his message. That was nice that he would, have that message like that. Then we have, oh boy, folks, I'm going to believe this. Then we have this guy, right, who is helping to bail out these Antifa and commies who are destroying America as we type. This was from 1 second ago in Minnesota via Unicorn Riot Live. Oh, notice how they're on the scene, right? Who is paying for this? So this is a phone number that someone wrote on their arm, that if somebody gets arrested, if any of the protesters get arrested, that you call that number to get bailed out. Well, I did not call the number. I don't want to know what it is right now. I mean, maybe I should, but I'll let someone else report on that. This is very sad. This is very sad. This is people teaming up on this guy here. The rioters pull a black man out of his car and begin beating him on the streets in Dallas. Wait, I thought this was about Black Lives Matters. Or is it only some black people? This ain't got anything to do with George Floyd now. This is simple anarchy. And it's engineered anarchy, folks. It's not just any anarchy. It's engineered this way. Okay. Now we have someone in Minnesota. Wait a second. I'm not going to screen share that one. Here we have a story where Minnesota residents are saying that Minnesota leaders say arrested protesters are not local residents. We don't know these folks. Every single person we arrested last night, I'm told, was from out of state. Really? Which state? So let's see, what does this say? He didn't say what state. Did he say what state? No. Because that would be good to know, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it give us more information on what's going on? Yeah. 80% of them do not live in the Gopher state, which is the Minnesota. So on Saturday, they mobilized the full force of the Minnesota National Guard. Well, folks, it's gonna keep happening until we all stand up and come together. We have to come together. That's what's going to solve this. Coming together is going to solve it. No, 70% non-Minnesota residents, right, Dan? Affirmative. Well, folks, hi from France, Captain Raid. How you doing? Yes, George Soros funded. It's sad, folks, but you know what? We're on to it. I mean, the Goldfish Report viewers, you guys better be on to it. That's for sure. I know that you are. So that's it for tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Please watch that. Look for that Goldfish Report number 500, part 1, 2, and 3. There might even be a part 4. You're going to want to see it. So I appreciate everybody joining me. Dan, I want to thank you for being moderator. You did a great job. And I think once you showed up, people kind of, whoever was being fresh, changed their mind. And I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. No, it won't be live streaming, though. I'll be back for a live stream on Monday to do our political theater report with the Fets. But even before that, yes, no. And then next week, you're going to see parts 2 and 3 of our Goldfish Report number 500 series, and you don't want to miss it. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you'll have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you all on Monday. Thanks for joining us. And this concludes this edition of the Goldfish Report.